ladies and gentlemen. I know you wanted more, so here we are with more. I'm Brett. I'm one of the co-founders of Launch House. Super excited to be sharing the stage with this amazing team over here. So we're just going to do some Q&A. I'm sure everybody has their own questions that they're going to ask. So start thinking of those now. But I'm going to start it off with, I kind of want to hear the origin story. You know, where did this crazy concept come from? You know, let's go back to childhood or something. You know, give us the origin.
Well, in November of 2020, I was playing Call of Duty, and I recorded a pretty sick clip on Verdansk. So I wanted to send it to my group chat of friends, and I usually upload it through Google Drive and email it to myself. But in this situation, I ran out of Google Drive storage, so I had to plug in a USB into my gaming computer, copy it over to my Mac, and then airdrop it to my phone. And at that point, I just decided it wasn't worth it to send it to my group chat. So yeah, there's a much bigger problem there. So it was all about creating the decentralized airdrop that runs on everything. And after that, it was like, okay, how do we identify these devices? There needs to be a better way. And having that universal biometric system is really what turned out to be the best way to do it.
And I guess, show of hands, who in the audience is an engineer? Software engineer. All right, keep your hand up if you are a Web3 engineer. Okay? Keep your hand up if you've used Sonar before. Heyo, we got it. Nice. So, yeah, I like it. One of them is, yeah. I guess the next question is every amazing platform has their kind of, we saw the iPhone screen up here. Every amazing platform needs to have their kind of iPhone moment. You know, what's the killer app or the killer use case that all of these engineers should be thinking about building with Sonar? Like, what's the thing that you think is going to be the first absolutely killer use case?
Yeah, so as we mentioned, we're looking to launch Beam. And for us, Beam is not going to be that killer use case. What Beam is going to be is that really demonstrative use case of what is the value of decentralized identity on chain. What do you get when you have a peer-to-peer network built on your blockchain? I think the killer use cases will really come from the developers who end up building on top of Sonar. So we really want to see use cases that leverage this idea of peer-to-peer networking. So think about social media. Shout out to the Scene team. I think that could ultimately be a killer use case for Sonar. But yeah, use cases where you really see this idea of connectivity, bringing people together, having that communication between people on a network. So.
What would you say is the most challenging technical problem that Sonar solves? You know, as a company, what is the thing that has been the biggest challenge that you guys have done?
Oh man, there's so many technical challenges for peer-to-peer networking on blockchain. Honestly, solving it by making a cohesive package for developers is probably the hardest thing that we've solved. I think there's a lot of technical problems, but making it easy to use is the hardest one.
So developer experience. Or user experience.
Yeah.
What are some aspects of the user experience that are kind of important?
Face ID for signing transactions, just that off the bat. We use this thing called DIDs, and it essentially turns all verifiable assets. I say that, but that means an NFT. But it would put your NFTs on steroids, essentially, because you would be able to verify the individual that owns it, and also what services they're involved with, and also what currencies, all that. And it would have to be provisioned in order to access it, opposed to it being completely public. It's all about user privacy and their discretion.
Any questions right now? I can keep going. Okay. Katie.
What do you see as the biggest opportunity around identity in Web3 specifically, and the way in which people will start to transition their identities into the space?
Well, I mean, I feel like the biggest issue with Web3 right now is identity. Let's just talk about DAOs and governance and voting. You would be able to spin up like 40 or 50 wallets, equally distribute tokens across all of them, and have the same amount of votes across all of them. There's no verified structure along that. And we can't create sustainable organizations on chain if that's going to be like a very easy way to get around this. So that's what I would say is the biggest thing that we're trying to solve.
Actually, with identity becomes, now we know who owns them. We now can peg it to somebody. So now ownership becomes something. So if you own IP, you want to use Sonar, because we know you own it.
So I have to ask, I missed the Ethereum token sale, and I'm feeling kind of bad about it. When is the Sonar token sale?
Sonar token sale will be in July.
Mark your calendars.
July what?
July 10th. Talk about some of the things you're doing for engineers and developers to kind of like grow the ecosystem, programs you're putting on, events you're putting on. How can people get involved?
Yeah, so again, a big part of Sonar is kind of building a developer community. So if you go to sonar.dev right now, you'll see information on our SDK. You can apply for grants. So if you have a decentralized application idea, you can actually apply for support from the Sonar team to get it built. So we're establishing partnerships with hackathons at different schools. Shout out to Hack UNT, different schools around the US, just to kind of get hackers kind of building and using our SDK. And you can reach out to us if you have any ideas for collaboration on the developer front.
And how would you describe the developer that would choose Sonar specifically? Like what's that persona? Is it, or maybe even an application that you think makes the most sense right now?
Anything, right? Anybody can use Sonar, that's their goal. It should be, for us at least, one of our goals is to make it make sense for everyone. Now, today, obviously, somebody who's familiar with peer-to-peer networking and stuff like that, so they can understand the concepts, is super useful. But in general, our goal is to make it accessible.
Any more questions?
So obviously for a lot of these blockchains, developer experience is something that we focus on, but can you talk a little bit more about user experience, especially with a lot of the core functionalities that you guys are putting out in this initial Beam product and other products that are being built on Sonar? So much of these products, the incumbents have a hold over the general population just because it's what they're used to. So can you chat a little bit more about how you make the user experience something that's easy for people to switch over to, even if it's an old person?
And by everyone, what do you mean? Like the Web3 community? Oh, user experience in general? Well, okay, just off the bat, you're not going to onboard 1 billion people by having a Google Chrome extension. That's not going to be the way that you have wallets functioning. A wallet is a feature, it's not a product. It's something that can be embedded into your application. The actual core concepts of it can be leveraged with real value proposition, like real features. So what we're trying to build with our SDK, with these objects, buckets, functions, the authentication, and then the hosting, is basically creating a Firebase style SDK that allows you to go to production as quickly as possible. Like, we'll deal with the crypto part, because the crypto part is not the reason why you guys can have a successful product. Unless it's like some crazy token, but I mean, I've yet to still see one.
Yeah, and so then on the user side, we mentioned the 4 key elements of our ecosystem. The first element we mentioned is identity. So as a user, basically our approach is like, you are gaining control over your data and you sort of control who has access to it. So the entry point is really this idea of identity, of being able to kind of flip around that identity and ownership paradigm from twitter.com/Kyle to Kyle.snr/Twitter. So once you get users onboarded and sort of sold on this idea of identity, then as you kind of build dApps onto the ecosystem, they can interface with the dApps and kind of understand more concretely what that is.
Awesome. Just want to say great talk, everybody. I love the Beam app mockups. I cannot wait to download it and try it out. Curious, how much does bread cost? I haven't seen this whole thing. That's my question.
I'm free. For Sonar, I'm free. As long as I get my token sale.
I'm just kidding. Actually, a serious question. What's your favorite part about this team they've constructed here, and why are you here to succeed in this space?
We can go one by one. I mean, I was a solo founder, right? And last year I wrote the fourth most code on the planet. This year I probably wrote 4 times the code total. So I guess that itself is something I really am appreciative about, because I can turn the blind eye now since I know that these guys got it controlled.
So what I love about this team is our dedication to our product. We all fully understand the impact we have and are fully behind it, right? There is no despair or distrust in our product. We all fully believe in it, and we all put our full weight behind it because we want to use it, right? Like, it matters to us deeply. And I love that the team all feel the same way, that this is something that will change the future.
I'd say my favorite part is how ambitious the team is. So Brad came to me as a solo founder, so I was actually one of the first employees at Sonar. And he basically told me that he wanted to build the new internet. And obviously I didn't understand what that meant at the time. I just really appreciated how ambitious he was, the fact that he was setting out to build something so huge and essentially create a paradigm shift in the world. So that's what really got me to kind of buy into Sonar. And it's been nice to kind of see the rest of the team adopt this ambitious mindset as well.
I guess the main thing for me is all of the people on stage and a couple of team members that we have down there feeling family at this point. I was brought on not too long ago, and I actually got the role of an employee and tattooed into me because I'm so behind this problem. And so at the end of the day, these guys weren't my brothers. I wouldn't think to me, right? I wouldn't have branded myself. I am completely behind every single one of these guys, their ambition and dedication to this project, and that to me is what's most important.
Yeah, I would say ambition. Brad, another fun story. Brad told me that 4 years he wanted to make our company worth $500 billion. I mean, that'd be cool. I mean, but it's ambition. We're recreating something that doesn't exist. You know, it's a new way of doing something, so there's opportunity. Tons of it. We can go anywhere, any direction we want to go, because we're not recreating infrastructure that already exists. It's new. So we can go as far as we want. Or as the kids would say, win moon.
When moon. I have to ask what's next, because obviously $500 billion in 3.5 years. Here we are today. Obviously not at $500 billion yet. Like, what can we look for on the immediate roadmap besides launch on Saturday?
Yeah, so after our .SNR name that's launching this Saturday, you can expect our Highway SDK to go into beta mid-April and probably get the Beam beta out to everyone that registers for their .SNR name. The first 1,500 will get immediate beta access to Beam. And that will be probably coming out mid-May, and we'll probably be going to mainnet July 10th, and also releasing Beam around the same time. That's in terms of actual consumer-facing stuff. Michael over here can talk about what we're doing on the dev side of it.
Yeah, so post the Highway SDK launch, there'll be a series of different hackathons. So you'll see announcements on Twitter, email, talking about opportunities to come hack with Sonar. So a lot of those will be collaborations with schools, but eventually we'll host our own hackathons that you can come to and use our studio.
Sweet. Anybody have any final questions? Maybe I'll leave it one last very aspirational question. You could say Sonar is the answer, but the question is, what do you think is missing from the industry and maybe the internet right now? And you know, what are you doing to change that?
Verifiable identity and freedom of communication. And that's what we're doing right now.
Amen. Amen to that.
That's the first thing we're doing.
Sweet. Well, give the team a round of applause. So, the broader theme right here is extremely ambitious projects. A new internet is not a small task, and so over the next hour or so, we'll have a few more speakers coming in and talking about extremely ambitious projects. So stick around, and thanks everybody for coming. We'll be starting in like 5 minutes.